Hey guys, it's Velocity Reaper here, and we are back again with some more Fortnite talk. And today we have our opportunity to do another theory video, which it has been a long while since we've been able to actually do theory in general, and it's actually one of my favorite things to do so far. And it seems like you guys enjoy my little theory. So clearly we have a cube in the game now. It is right between the H8 and the H9 line. So we're gonna have to try to figure something out here, because we really have almost no information, like very little information at the moment to really give us any idea of what's going on in the game and why this cube is here. All we know is that for the last couple days there has been lightning striking pretty much consistently every 4th minute of the hour. So it was very interesting, and I was going to do a video about it before the event happened, because people on the Reddit were like, oh, something's going to happen on Friday, be on Friday, play Friday, but no one had a confirmed time, and no one had a really general idea of what was going to happen. And obviously this event wasn't anything insane, wasn't too crazy. It's just a cube for the most part. Obviously we have a lot of things to talk about with this cube, but pretty much it's just a cube. And so it's not like the Blockbuster event where it was a one-time thing. This cube seems like it's going to stay here for the rest of the season. Now, this cube has a lot of implications, a lot of different things we can think of. So obviously, first of all, I'm going to ground things in reality, things that we know already, things that we've had in the past seasons, before I get into something that is possible in the future and kind of expand, kind of let the ideas flow and get a little bit farther from, a realistic reality kind of thing and more so a theory side of things. So first of all, what we know right now is that, one, the Blockbuster happened last season. This isn't like the end of the Blockbuster. Last season was setting us up kind of into this season. So the rift opened up at the end of last season, and then it bridged us into this season, bringing Drift into the map. Now, Drift has been in the map consistently, as you guys can see in the loading screens. You constantly see Drift kind of hanging out, progressing in his skin, as well, which is interesting. Also interesting to note that he keeps gaining new clothing, which is weird in some senses, but maybe not. He also has a weird relationship with Bright Bomber, but we're not going to talk about that. And obviously Drift is from another world. This whole season is supposed to be worlds collide, and mostly the only thing that's collided right now is, kind of Earth. But we do have the Tomato Temple, which has obviously come from the past. So what happened with Tomato Temple, if you guys did not know, is that the Tomato Head was sent into the past. At least this is what everyone is thinking. It was sent to the past. Then we got the little clay sort of version of the Tomato Head, and that's when we kind of thought, like, oh, okay, well, it was sent to the past. People thought it was a god because it, just came out of nowhere. So then they idolized it and made it into their king, their god, and that's why the Tomato Temple exists. It came from the past. It was almost like the past was rewritten and brought into the future, and then the future kind of just plopped down Tomato Temple. So it's weird. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Obviously, this whole thing doesn't really make a lot of sense. We don't really have a lot of information to go off of, because Epic hasn't said a single thing about the cube. They don't even tweet about it. They're like, oh, the cube is here. They don't say a single thing, which is very interesting to me as well. So what can we say about this cube? Well, in my experience from going near the cube, one, you realize that it does kind of have similar sounds to what we heard with the Blockbuster. In some senses, there are some symbols on it that kind of that are kind of similar to the Blockbuster as well. So we can kind of pair them together. Now, it came from the Rift, which obviously the Blockbuster went into the Rift. So should we assume that this is something that the Blockbuster sent in? Is the Blockbuster trapped in this cube? Or what is the goal of this cube overall? Now, what's interesting to me is that, and this is when we're going to start to get into the theory side of things now that we've kind of covered what we know so far, kind of the past and what's been going on the map for the last 7 weeks. Inside of the theory side of things is that I personally think this cube is one of a few others. Now, if these cubes were to land on each corner of the map, so 4 total cubes, if this was to happen, again, this is just a big what if. I don't have any confirmation, nothing from the Reddit. This is literally all my general ideas. Is that 4 cubes spawn around the map, 4 corners of the map. Say something triggers them, some mass destructive event triggers all 4 of them to activate at the exact same time. What would happen then? Well, if you guys just saw there, it gave me a bounce back. It was feedback from the cube. The cube doesn't like to be touched, clearly. If you touch it, you die for the most part. You can bounce on it, but it will obviously discharge at you and kill you or hurt you if you are, damaging the cube. So it has something about it that's either real, either it has its own, like, living being inside some kind of consciousness, or it's, just a reaction of the cube. It has its protective shell around it so that it does not, is not damaged, whatever is internally on the inside. So let's say 4 cubes do spawn. If that is the case, I want to stick with that theory for a second before I start getting into maybe a theory of the cube being alive, having its own consciousness, and maybe breaking down and revealing something on the inside of the cube. But that's kind of more of a stretch. So 4 cubes spawn on the map. Destructive event happens, or maybe we get the the blockbuster event to happen again, or something along those lines. Obviously, we can bring stuff in from the past. Now that we are aware that Tomato Temple can spawn into the map, we know that we can see past events happen or / kind of come into the map again. So massive destructive event happens, and then boom, it discharges on each 4 corners of the map, maybe even connecting on each end and just absolutely obliterating the entire map. That's a possibility. That's not out of the question, honestly. And I've already discussed how they do think that it's around that time for a new map. It's not out of the question. We've added locations. That's very cool. But obviously a new map should be in the works and can be in the works. Now, to think about the cube as a living consciousness, possible, very, very possible that the cube has its own mind and that it's doing its own thing, and maybe the blockbuster does have a hand in that. However, we don't know. It's a purple glow, which isn't very significant of the blockbuster. If it was like blue and red, then we'd be like, oh yeah, this is easily the blockbuster's cube, but it's not. So we have to kind of just assume and wait for now, and I'm kind of curious to see what's going to happen. Honestly, this is around the time when they want to start to put these kind of big events into the game so that people can get that experience, that crazy insane like end of the season just celebration, like going out with a bang. They love doing that. So that's Epic's thing. Honestly, I think that the cube does have significance. There's these little symbols on it that we can't decipher because we don't know the language at all. And it actually kind of brings back some Transformers vibes, because this definitely looks like, Cybertronian language or whatever, if you guys have ever seen any of the Transformers movies. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Honestly, I think that this is either one of 2 things. One of many cubes, or this is a cube that's going to continuously break down and obviously reveal something massive on the inside. And also, this is also a really good side note in my last 30 seconds here, is that we do have the bunker still in Wailing Woods. So say this was some big catastrophic event, I think that the bunker is still there for a reason. And that bunker has been there since last season. I think maybe even the end of 3rd season. So that bunker still has some significance, something in the game that needs to happen for us to use it. So let me know what you guys think down below, but I will catch you guys in the freaking next one. Peace.